My beloved child, bow your heart in holy stillness. For there are words I do not sow into your ears as passing sounds, but engrave upon your soul as a seal from heaven. When I lift you up, it is not so that you may stand higher than others, but so that you may see my mercy more clearly. When I place you in the light, it is not so that you may gather glory for yourself, but so that your life may become a small lamp reflecting the light of the one who called you out of the long night. Therefore, my child, the more I use you, the more you must learn to kneel deeply. The more people see you, the more you must know how to hide yourself beneath the shadow of my wings. The more you are entrusted with, the more you must keep your heart tender, pure, and guarded, not allowing the leaven of pride to rise quietly in the hidden corners of your soul. My word is written, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. James 4:6. Never forget that the grace which lifts you up today is the very same grace that found you in the days when you had nothing left to boast about. I know how easily the human heart trembles before praise, like tender grass bending before the wind. A word of admiration can warm the heart. A look of esteem can make your steps feel lighter, and a recognized position can make you think you have already arrived. But my child, applause on earth fades quickly like morning dew upon the field. Only the word spoken by me is an eternal inheritance. Do not give your soul to crowns made of smoke. Do not sell your peace in exchange for the fragile attention of the crowd. What is worth desiring is not that many people call your name, but that I know you in the secret place. What is worth pursuing is not a brightly lit stage, but a life that pleases heaven. When you stand before quiet choices, when no one sees, when no one praises you, when you remain faithful in small things, that is when the true fragrance of your heart rises before me. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. I do not only weigh what you do, I weigh the heart you offer in doing it. Remember King Uzziah, the one whom I helped in extraordinary ways, who became strong, well known, and was given wisdom to build, to conquer, and to expand his territory. But when he became powerful, his heart was lifted up in pride, and that very pride drew him into what did not belong to him. He entered the temple to burn incense, crossing the holy boundary I had set, and from there his downfall began. Do you see? A blessing, if not kept in reverent fear, can become a mirror that makes you enamored with yourself. Success, if not anchored in obedience, can become a path that leads the soul far from me. Therefore, when I give you grace, do not let that grace make you forget the giver. When I open a door, do not claim that you are the key. When I touch others through you, do not forget that you are only an earthen vessel, and the surpassing power belongs to me. As it is written, we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellence of the power may be of God and not of us. 2 Corinthians 4:7. The battles you have passed through were not detours in my plan. Not one tear has been wasted. Not one season of loneliness has been meaningless. And not one closed door has fallen outside the wisdom of my hand. There were times when you thought you were being rejected, but in truth, I was separating you from places that could not nourish what I had placed within you. There were times when you were refused, and your heart felt as though it had been torn open. Yet in that very pain you learned to distinguish between my calling and the mere invitation of your need to be accepted. There were times when you thought failure had closed the story. But beneath the ashes, I was writing the opening chapter of a greater restoration. Do you remember Joseph? He was sold by his brothers, falsely accused, and forgotten in the prison. Yet every pit into which he fell became a hidden stairway leading him to the place I had appointed. When the day came for him to understand, he said, You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. Genesis 50:20. In the same way, my child, the thing that once made you weep is not necessarily the thing that defeated you many times. It is the very place where I planted the seed for a harvest you did not yet have the vision to recognize. So do not continue standing and waiting for an outward sign as though I had never spoken to you. I have led you through fire, and you were not burned. I have brought you through deep waters, and you were not swept away. I have kept you in the days when you thought you could bear no more. Your renewed existence itself is already a testimony. Your breath, still filled with hope, is already a song. Your hands, once trembling, but now able to lift others up, are proof that I am still moving in the midst of a weary generation. Do not despise what I have done in you, simply because it does not look like what you once imagined. Sometimes, the miracle is not thunder and lightning in the sky, but a soul that was once shattered and now knows how to love without bitterness. Once wounded, and now knows how to heal. Once afraid, and now knows how to walk by faith. You are a letter of Christ, written not with ink but by the Spirit of the living God. 2 Corinthians 3:3. You are the living letter I am sending into the midst of people who still doubt my goodness. But my child, when I cause your life to become a testimony, guard yourself from turning that testimony into a throne for the self. Do not speak of restoration in order to seek admiring eyes. Speak so that the weary may know that I still save. Do not speak of victory as a crown placed upon your own head. Speak as one who was once pulled from the abyss and now knows how to bend down and pull others up. Do not allow your heart to compare in secret, to envy, or to consider yourself higher than those who are still in process. You have received mercy, so live as one who knows how to show mercy. You have been forgiven, so walk as one who does not forget that you once needed grace. You have been raised up, so remember whose hand lifted you. When others ask whether I can still use a life that has once been broken, do not answer with boasting. Let gentleness, purity, patience, joy, and resurrection power within you answer on your behalf. For my kingdom is not only in words, but in power, and the greatest power is often clothed in humility. When you finish your race, you will not carry with you the applause, the number of people who knew you, the titles that once impressed the world, or the achievements engraved in stone. You will stand before me with what is most real, the love you kept, the faithfulness you lived, and the things you did to please me when no one saw. In that moment, what satisfies your soul will not be the echo of the world, but my word spoken over you. Well done, good and faithful servant. Matthew 25:21. That is the reward that does not decay. That is the crown that does not fade. That is the honor with which no earthly glory can compare. Therefore, run the race set before you with endurance, fixing your eyes on Christ. Do not look back to seek old recognition, and do not turn aside to gather the quickly fading flowers of fame. Now I place upon you a confirmation that is gentle yet firm. You were not forgotten in the years of waiting, not wasted in the seasons of being hidden, and not lost in the battles no one knew about. I used all of those things to train your ears to hear my voice more clearly, to train your heart not to worship opportunity, and to train your steps to follow my presence instead of chasing the crowd. Closed doors were not curses, but protection. People who left were not always a loss. Many times, they were a release. The times when you thought you were being pulled backward were not necessarily failures, but the drawing back of a bow before the arrow is released in the right direction. Therefore, stand firm in humility. Let Christ be revealed through you, not only in the words you speak, but in the way you forgive, the way you serve, the way you keep your heart pure when praised, and the way you remain faithful when misunderstood. You are a sign of my grace, a witness of resurrection, a small lamp I have placed in the world. Burn brightly, but do not scorch others with pride. Shine, but do not forget that the source of light does not come from you. Walk on, my beloved child, with your head lifted in faith and your heart bowed in worship. For my own hand has preserved you. My spirit is working within you, and my love will bring you to the end of the road in peace. My beloved child, when your heart stops standing outside the courts of the temple and begins to enter the deep place of communion with me, you will recognize a quiet yet powerful movement taking place in your life. Before, you often thought you had to use your own shoulders to push open heavy doors, that you had to persuade life to make a way for you, that you had to prove yourself worthy of an opportunity, a position, or an answer. But as you draw nearer to me, you will learn a strangely peaceful truth. Not every door needs your strength to open, and not every path is cleared by your tension. There are doors that open only before obedience. There are paths that appear only when you place your hand in mine. For in Revelation 3:7, it is written that the Holy One, the True One, is the one who opens, and no one shuts, and shuts, and no one opens. Therefore, do not be afraid when everything before you still seems silent. And do not panic when the world has not yet seen what I have placed within you. If I have appointed a season for you, no delay can cancel that season. If I have placed a promise upon your life, no power of darkness is strong enough to erase my signature. Sometimes you look back and see only the things that once opposed you, the rejections, the people who left, the opportunities that closed, the plans that fell apart, the dreams you thought you were about to touch, only to watch them dissolve in your hands. But my child, when those things are placed under my sovereignty, they are no longer evidence that you have failed. They become materials through which I build something deeper, stronger, and holier within your soul. I can use absence to teach you how to be present with me. I can use loneliness to cleanse you of false dependencies. I can use wounds to make you gentle toward the pain of others. I can use loss like a field freshly plowed, seeming barren, yet ready to receive the seed of a new harvest. Romans 8:28 reminds you that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose. That does not mean everything is easy, but it means nothing in my hand is wasted. Even your tears, when they fall into grace, can become waters that nourish the future. Do not grieve too deeply over those who have left your journey. Some departures are not the end of my love for you, but the way I release you from supports that no longer nourish your soul. There are people who are permitted to walk with you only for a stretch of the road, to teach you a lesson, to awaken maturity within you, or to reveal where you have placed your trust wrongly. When they stepped out of your life, you thought you had been left behind, but I saw it as the moment I drew you closer to my heart. You once leaned on their voices to know your worth, relied on their presence to feel safe, and depended on their approval to dare to move forward. But I, your Father, want you to learn a greater freedom. You are loved even when no one applauds. You are guided even when no one walks beside you. And you are kept even when the arms you once trusted are no longer there. Psalm 27:10 says that though father and mother forsake you, the Lord will receive you. So let that word embrace your heart. For I do not come and go according to the emotional seasons of human beings. I remain by an everlasting covenant. I want you to understand that true glory does not spring from control, but from surrender. The world often teaches you to accumulate knowledge, power, influence, skills, and reputation. and then calls that strength. Those things may be useful when placed in their proper place, but they are not the source of heavenly power. Before me, a soul that knows how to kneel can be stronger than an army that knows how to boast. A heart that knows how to say, "Let your will be done," can open more than a mind filled with schemes. You may know much, do much, and plan very carefully, but if your heart has not yet melted in my hands, you will still grow weary from carrying what was never yours to carry. Jesus said in John 15:5 that apart from him, you can do nothing. That word is not meant to make you small in despair, but to lead you into the secret of true life. When you abide in me, my life sap flows into you. When you rely on me, what is impossible in human strength begins to open in grace. Remember the story of Gideon, my child. When I called him to deliver Israel, he was not standing on the heights of self-confidence, nor did he appear as a hero in the eyes of men. He was threshing wheat in a winepress to hide from the Midianites, his heart full of fear and insecurity. Yet my angel called him a mighty man of valor, not because he was already strong, but because I saw what grace could do in a person who would obey. Then, when he gathered an army, I told him to reduce the number from tens of thousands down to only 300, so that Israel could not boast that their own hand had saved them. Judges 7:2 shows that I did this so my people would understand that victory comes from me, not from numbers or human strength. Do you see? I do not need you to have every perfect condition before I use you. I only need you to dare to place your trembling in my hand, to follow my voice even while your heart is still afraid, and to believe that I can call what does not yet exist as though it already does. Therefore, do not despise your weakness. Do not see your limitations as a sign that I cannot use you. I am not troubled by the parts of you that feel insufficient. I know where you are tired, what you fear, where you are still hurting, and how uncertain you feel before my calling. I did not choose you because you were already whole. I chose you to reveal that grace can make something whole in an earthen vessel. Paul learned that secret when he said, "When I am weak, then I am strong," in 2 Corinthians 12:10. My beloved child, my strength does not come merely to decorate your abilities. My strength comes to uphold the very place where you have no ability left. When you confess that you need me, heaven does not despise you. Rather, heaven opens over your humble heart. When you stop pretending that you are fine, I begin to heal you deeply. When you stop trying to become someone else, I begin to complete what I have started in you. Perhaps you once asked me to change your circumstances, but what I did first was change the hidden place within you. You wanted the door to open immediately, while I wanted your heart to be prepared to step through that door without losing your soul. You wanted people to recognize you, while I wanted you to know that I had called your name before anyone else saw you. You wanted all opposition to disappear, while I wanted to teach you how to walk in peace, even in the midst of opposition. Because a mission does not only need opportunity, a mission needs a refined heart. If I brought you into a spacious place while your heart was still bound by fear, you would turn the blessing into a burden. If I entrusted you with something great before you had learned to rely on me, you would think you were the source of everything. Therefore, do not see the season of waiting as meaningless delay. It may be my hand causing your roots to grow deep, so that when your branches reach high, the wind of pride will not overthrow you. Now, give me the doors you have tried to open until you were exhausted. Give me the people you tried to hold on to but could not keep. Give me the losses you still carry in your heart as evidence that life has taken from you what was most precious. I am not asking you to pretend that you are not in pain, but I am inviting you not to build your home inside that pain. Place it in my hands. For my hands can turn the cross into the dawn of resurrection, the grave into a testimony, and the place that seemed like an ending into the beginning of new life. When you surrender, you do not lose your dignity. You find your rightful place in love. When you release, you do not become empty. You make room for me to fill you with something better. When you say, "Father, I do not understand, but I trust you," then even within that trembling word, heaven begins to light a lamp. So walk on, my beloved child, not in striving, but in abiding. Let me open what must be opened, close what must be closed, keep what must be kept, and remove what would draw you away from me. Do not fear empty spaces, for I can turn them into holy meeting places. Do not fear weakness, for it may be the doorway through which my power flows in. Do not fear the unclear journey, for the one who goes before you never loses his way. You do not need to become a version of yourself more applauded by the world before I love you. You only need to abide in me, surrender day by day, and trust step by step, so that my light may complete the image I placed within you from the beginning. And behold, when my timing comes, the door will open not by the noise of force, but by the gentle authority of your Father. Then you will understand that everything that once stood against you in my hands had quietly become a step, drawing you closer to the mission I have prepared for you. My beloved child, as you close an old season and step onto the new path I open before you, hold fast to this truth as one guards a flame in the night. You have never been left alone, not for a single moment. Even on the days when you thought you could hear only the sound of your own sighs, even on the stretches of road so empty that your heart wondered whether anyone still saw you, I was there. Before you knew how to call my name, I knew yours. Before you realized you needed to be upheld, my hand was already near to catch you. It is written, "The Lord will go before you. He himself will be with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you." Therefore, do not let moments of weakness deceive you into thinking that heaven has fallen silent. My silence is not absence, many times. It is a holy space where you can hear more clearly the footsteps of grace walking beside you. Look, my child, behind you is the faithfulness that has kept you through many storms. Around you is a covering that the natural eye does not always see. And before you is a road illuminated by my light. I have sent my angels to guard you in all your ways. As it is written, that he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you and lift you up in their hands, lest your foot strike against a stone. When you are weary, I do not despise that weakness. I bend down and give you new strength. When you are confused, I do not abandon you at the crossroads of doubt. I use my word as a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. When you are surrounded by fear, temptation, accusation, or forces that seek to pull you back into your old life, I do not stand far off and watch you fight alone. I am the one who fights for you. I am your refuge. I am your strong fortress when everything around you shakes. But my beloved child, hear me with an awakened heart. My protection does not invite you to live passively. Grace is not a bed for you to lie in endlessly while delaying. It is the strength that lifts you to your feet. The restoration you have received is not a drop of dew resting briefly on a leaf and vanishing when the sun rises. It is the seal of a covenant, an invitation to step into a life set apart. You must walk. You must choose. You must act by faith, even if the first step still trembles. When the people of Israel stood before the Jordan River, the waters did not part while they merely looked from the bank. Only when the feet of the priests touched the edge of the water did the river stop and the dry path appear. I still make a way for those who trust enough to place their feet where I have spoken. So do not wait until you are no longer afraid before you obey. Obey. And then you will see fear lose its rule over you. Remember Joshua, the one who received the mission after Moses in a moment full of pressure and transition. He did not enter the promised land because he had never trembled, but because I had spoken, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." That word rests upon you today like a mantle of commissioning. You are not called to return to the old life, where the body was disregarded, the soul was dimmed, and the mind was occupied by things that do not belong to the light. You are called to move forward as one who has been redeemed, as one who knows whom you belong to, as one who understands that the life within you is not accidental, but a treasure entrusted to you. When I heal you, I do not only want you to feel lighter, I want you to become a living witness that my power can renew even the places that seemed completely depleted. Therefore, present your body to me, not as a lifeless object dragged through the years, but as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. As the letter to the Romans exhorts, present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. This is your reasonable worship. Do you see? Worship is not only in the song upon your lips, not only in the hour of prayer when you kneel down, but also in the way you care for the life I have given you. When you choose to rest and trust, that can be worship. When you nourish your body with what is good, that can be worship. When you guard your mind from toxins that darken the soul, that can be worship. When you use your hands to lift others, your feet to walk in righteousness, your eyes to look with mercy, and your tongue to speak words that build up, your whole body becomes an altar, burning brightly before me. Do not forget that you do not carry my presence as some distant idea. You are the place where I desire to dwell. The temple of old had an outer court, a holy place, and the most holy place. But in the new covenant, I place my presence within redeemed hearts. Therefore, live as one walking on holy ground, not with the tension of fear of making a mistake, but with the pure reverence of love. Let each day of your life resound like a quiet symphony, your breath as the rhythm of gratitude, pure thoughts as strings being tuned, and loving actions as trumpets declaring that the King still reigns. When you work as before me. When you rest in my arms. When you eat, when you walk, when you meet others, when you face trials, remember that your ordinary life can become holy when it is offered to me with a loving heart. The world will look at you, but what you need to display is not a flawless appearance. I have not sent you out to become a statue polished by human standards. I have sent you out to become a lamp with oil, a tree planted beside streams of water, an earthen vessel that carries a treasure from heaven. People may not fully understand the journey you have walked, nor know the nights you cried, the times you collapsed, or the seasons when you had to learn again how to stand. But when my light is within you, they will sense what cannot be imitated, peace that surpasses understanding, kindness that does not come from your own strength, and steadfastness that circumstances cannot swallow. It is written, "Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." That light does not need to shout in order to be recognized. It only needs to be kept burning. And when you face days of weakness again, because the earthly journey still has contrary winds and valleys, do not condemn yourself as though a trembling moment has erased everything I have done in you. Return quickly to me. Let me remind you that the one who is sent is not the one who never becomes tired, but the one who knows where their strength comes from. Paul once carried many sufferings in his body. He endured hardship, imprisonment, beatings, hunger, thirst, and dangers. Yet he still said that the life of Jesus was revealed in his mortal body. So it is with you. In your very fragility, my glory can shine. I do not demand that you become invincible in the way the world understands. I invite you to become faithful, tender, courageous, and always ready to return to the source of life. So rise, my child, with humility but not timidity, with gentleness but not weakness, with faith that what I have begun in you I will also complete. You have been called out of paralysis into life. You have been washed clean from the things that dim the light. Your wounds have been bound up, and oil has been placed upon your head as a sign that you belong. Now you do not merely keep restoration for yourself, you carry it like the fragrance of grace into dry places. Walk with a body that has been offered, a mind that has been renewed, and a soul anchored in the promise. I am behind you as a history of faithfulness. Around you is a wall of fire protecting you, and before you is the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire leading the way.